For somebody who doesn't watch as much WNBA as Steve here or as you who covers the league, it is hard for my eye to go away from the shooting percentages of Angel Reese and how ineffective it looks. What is the story behind the low shooting percentages? Why isn't that better? Is there a flaw in her game?
I think a lot of times when you look at the shooting percentage, it's, you're not hitting as many shots as you'd like to in the paint. End of story. But she's chasing after her own rebound, and a lot of times being aggressive and just trying to get shots up, down, low. So she might not make the first one or the second one, but she's getting the rebound and maybe closing the possession out with a made shot. So for me as a coach, I don't mind if you go 1 for 3 on the same possession. You still scored on the possession. It's better than 0 for 1 and you don't get the offensive rebound and the other team gets it. So I think it's really easy for people to circle that number and think, wow, this is an ineffective player. It's not the case at all. When you look at everything she does on the floor, I saw what she did defensively in that game because Connecticut jumped out on him 8-0. And it was Reese's intensity on defense. It was block shot. It was getting tough rebounds. It was live ball steals that fueled her team. And we live in a world of basketball. We're looking at offensive numbers. That's how we gauge a player a lot of times, right? Oh, someone's averaging double figures. They're shooting over 50%. They've got to be an effective player. Well, there's more than one way to impact the game. And if you're going to highlight one particular stat and judge a player off of that, that doesn't paint the complete picture to me, to her impact on the floor.
From you, why do you think, or what does drive the dislike of her on social media? Because it's intense and it never ends.
I think when you look at the difference, I think there's such a comparison between her and Caitlin Clark, right? It just comes down to what happened at the end of the national championship game and then the path that their careers went on after that, where the following year, Caitlin wins. And I think a lot of times people want to compare Caitlin's game to her game, and they have two completely different games, to be honest. Caitlin is a great passer. She's a sharpshooter. She can stretch the floor. She's a playmaker with the ball in her hands typically. And that isn't what Angel excels at, but she's growing in that department with the triple-double. And she is a rebounder. She's a better defender. And I look at the things that she can do. And so I think a lot of times people want to pit one person against the other, and they want to create this rivalry, create this narrative. And that was one thing that I was excited to call these games. I said, it's not about that. These are two players that can affect the game in different ways. Now, obviously, Caitlin and Indiana, they're off to a better start this year, and they look to be the team that's a little bit more complete than Chicago in the early going based upon their 2 head-to-head results. But to me, if I'm a coach, I'm happy with either player on my team, and they're going to be effective in either ways. And so I find it disappointing, honestly, to see that kind of discourse because it just makes no sense to me if we're looking at these people as players. And even with Angel off the floor, a good colleague of mine that is a play-by-play guy an analyst for CBS. His daughter attended one of their media days and got a chance to shadow Angel, and Angel took her all around. And to me, I think it's just completely unfair, the discourse that she gets. And I'm very impressed with the way she carries herself with that discourse, because I don't think a lot of people could handle the criticism that comes her way and still go in, night out, and bring that effort and produce a triple-double like she did after a lot of the stuff that sometimes is said. So I'm very impressed with just her resolve and her confidence in herself, despite what we've sometimes seen people try to say, to be honest. So for me, I completely disagree with the discourse around it. And I was really, really impressed with her performance. I thought it was great for her to do that and to show that dimension of her game, because I think it just shows you that you can be a talented basketball player and do it in more